Are you looking for the best Arc Raiders controller settings? You've clicked on the right video. As someone that's completed every single quest in the game, I've had plenty of time to tinker with all different types of settings. And if you're probably still in the basic settings that the game gives you, trust me, we can fix those and at least get you up to speed and give you an advantage over someone that maybe is using the default settings. If there's any point in this video that you want to skip ahead to that maybe you don't care about the current setting we're talking about, go to the pinned comment in this video and I'll have timestamps for the exact things I'm talking about during the video, and down there, please drop a like. This game has a practice range. You can take any kind of loadout that you have, come in here and practice with each gun. They have ammo. They even have some guns here. You can open up this weapon box and look, they've got all kind of different guns here. Obviously, it's not the full range of weapons, but it is quite a few different weapons you can mess with. Example, Pharaoh, Rattler. I brought a couple guns in. They do have some attachments here. Same with ammo. You can check this little box and it has different types of ammo and you can just pick it up and that way you're good to go. Now, this is why I bring you here, because instead of loading into a real game where you're going to have to be fighting other people and maybe getting shot by Arc, you can spawn into the firing range and then practice all those settings I'm about to give you in here. That way you don't have to worry about anything. What I would recommend is getting your settings, especially when you're going against flying objects. That would be like Rocketeers, Hornets, Wasp, anything like that that moves in the air. It's a lot harder to hit those with the default setting just because of how slow they are. Now, granted, a lot of people don't want it too fast because then you're not going to be able to aim. But trust me, you can tinker with these to get them to something that you prefer. But mine, I really feel like are pretty solid. So example would be when you're aiming at like this Hornet right here, you can track it perfectly where you can hit it in its weak points. The same with like a Wasp or a Rocketeer or something. You want to be able to aim perfectly and hit, like I said, the weak points to get it down sooner. But this is a great area to practice stuff like that. That way you're not getting killed by enemy Arc or maybe an enemy Raider that's trying to mess with you in raid. Come to the firing range and practice with all those settings here. If all you're here for is just to copy my settings, that's perfectly fine too. Just pause the video at any point and you can copy my exact same controller settings right here. But if you want a little bit more information, let me walk you through them. Obviously, you have your horizontal sensitivity and vertical sensitivity that we've talked about before, 115, 150, and all that. Some of this stuff is pretty much default because I do think it's quite good, and I've played on it quite a bit, and I like it. But you can change any of the stuff that you would prefer, and that's why I was really recommending going into the firing range. That way you can tinker with it. But dead zones is another topic that a lot of people don't know a lot of information about, but that comes down to your controller's lifespan. So if you have a brand new controller, your dead zones can be lower. As you can see, mine are put down at a 5 here. My movement is a 10, and then like I said, the look enter was a 5. But if you have a newer controller like this one, you can keep that lower. But if you have a older controller, you definitely want to have a higher dead zone. And all that means is when you go to actually press down on the sticks, it's going to take less actual force for your character to move. And whether that's aiming or moving, like if you're trying to sprint forward, it's the actual force, okay? And I think by default it's around 15, which is fine. I feel like that's a good middle ground between an old controller and a new controller. But I turned mine down to a 5 just because I have a newer controller, okay? But some of this stuff I did change a little bit. Like I said, you can just copy paste the exact settings that I have. But I really do like these quite well, and I've played a lot on them, so I really can't recommend them to you. The next setting that people ask me all the time about is going to be your accessibility settings. And you can see my dot here, I've changed it to a circle. And it's just so much easier to see, especially like looking up in the air. If you're having to shoot like a Rocketeer or something, look how much easier it is to see that red versus a white, especially against like a white cloud. But all you got to do to change that is go into your settings. You're going to go over to accessibility, and you can change all this to your personal liking, okay? This is really personal to you. But right here is what I did. I turned my override crosser shape to on, and then you can change all through different types. I like the circle the best. And then I've changed mine to a 1 on the the crosshair center dot radius. And then I have the thickness at a 1 also, the outline thickness to a 1. But obviously you can change this to whatever you prefer. And then if you want to change the opacity, that's here too. I think by default it actually might be like 85 or 70 or something. But if you want to change the color, all you got to do is turn the other colors down to 0, and whatever color you pick, that would be green, blue, turn it to 0, right? And then you can mix and match too, obviously. But that is all you have to do to change that. It's super easy, and it's going to be super customizable to you, whatever you prefer. But like I said, I definitely do recommend changing it from the default white because it's just hard to see sometimes. If this video helped you at all, can you please subscribe to the channel? I would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. If you want to drop a like on the video too, that'd be awesome also. Thank you for watching, man.